We're hanging in there. Well, first of all, how you been? What's the latest? Are you still surviving Trudeau's lovely Canada up there?
Yeah, I'm still hanging on.
Hanging on to the life raft?
Yeah, well, this is life under a communist country, and so you keep your head down, you keep your eyes open, you do what you can to survive. You make yourself as independent as possible and self-reliant as possible, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no end to that effort. It's an ongoing effort. You're constantly trying to upgrade your skills, upgrade your preps, upgrade your equipment,
Yes.
so that we can rebuild the world after the psychopaths are done with us.
Right, yeah. Before we even get into specifically what you wanted to talk about, a few things came to my mind as you were talking there. Right now, we're seeing all kinds of crazy temperatures happening worldwide, right? You got Biden saying we're in a climate emergency. It's pretty obvious that they're going to be playing the extreme temperature game. Now, Canada obviously is known for being more on the colder side, to put it like that. Do you want to spend maybe a few minutes talking about the potentiality of what Joe Biden and others call a dark winter, where in conjunction with blackouts, which are already happening due to extreme temperatures on the other side of the fence, due to it being too hot, I'm thinking that that's the card they're going to play for the wintertime, just start downing, people's power or whatnot, and it's just making it really cold or whatnot. It could be pretty brutal. You want to spend a few minutes maybe talking about how to get prepared for that?
Sure. Well, before we talk about climate change, I want an explanation for the chemtrails. What the hell is going on there? Before they tax me another dollar, because we have carbon taxes here, because, Canada has to pay and pay and pay because, we have 30 million people and we've probably got the cleanest country in the world, in terms of pollution and output. But no, they want to tax the living daylights out of people here, and that's what they're doing with our glorious leader, Prime Minister Justin Castro.
Huh.
Little Mao,
Mm-hmm. Little Mao.
and no, he loves China. He loves Mao. I was talking
Mm-hmm.
the other day on a radio show. I said, Canada has stockpiled emergency medical and food and water and cots. They've stockpiled them for a natural disaster and in warehouses all across Canada. And yet, nobody knows where those warehouses are. They're
Oh man.
somewhere. And if
Uh-huh.
there's an emergency, we'll find them, right? But,
Mm-hmm.
little Mao, Justin Castro, he actually did find a couple of the warehouses, and he shipped 16 tons of emergency medical supplies and equipment, donated it to China. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, no, like, nobody else needs that stuff. Anyways, we know how much he loves China. So, we're just trying to survive here, and that's why. Of course, they're going to do something in the wintertime. We're all expecting the worst, and that's why, here in Canada, certainly, you have to figure out another way of heating your home. So I have a kerosene heater, and I'm stockpiling some kerosene so that if the power does go out here, because I'm on electric heat in the apartment I'm in,
Oh okay.
so if they do turn off the power, I've got a kerosene heater that will heat up, at least the bedroom, and and if that doesn't work, I also
I
have a
thought I had that.
propane
No,
heater.
no.
So I got a propane heater and I have a kerosene heater. So I've got two different ways of heating if they shut off the power. And I would recommend anybody that's living in the north, where you're going to have cold winters, better figure out a different way to heat the place if you're relying on electricity or if you're relying on natural gas, because we don't know how much longer that's going to last as well. So that would be my prep advice for the coming winter. Figure out another way to stay warm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, in regards to staying on script now, talk to us about three mutual aid communities that everyone needs to start right now, buddy.
Yeah, so the first one is a food co op. This is essential right now because we see what's happening. It is so obvious, all these processing plants being burned down, and now they're starting this nitrogen ban here in Canada, the same thing that they did in Holland, where the plan is to kick half the farmers off their property and prevent them from growing food. They're doing that here in Canada too now. And we've seen with the supply chains and with the disruptions and with the fertilizers being priced out through the roofs. Look, they are destroying the food distribution and the food production system in our countries. That's what they're doing. And the reason they're doing that is because that's what communists always do. They always starve their population. They use famine as a weapon. So they're going to starve us. They're using this as a weapon. So most important right now, we talked about it a little bit before about, doing a grow op, getting together with friends and neighbors and growing a nice sized garden and trying to, supplement your nutritional needs by growing it yourself. Maybe, if you have room in the backyard, put in there 4 or 5 chickens. That's going to be 8 to 10 eggs per day. And that's a good source of protein, and it's not a lot of bother. We need to do those things. We need to prepare for the famine to come. I'm calling it the Great Famine of 23 because I guarantee these sons of bitches are going to starve us out. So another way to provide nutritional needs is to start a food co-op. Now, a food co-op is whereby a group of people come together and they buy produce and products from local producers, in other words, local farms. And they form a corporation. A co-op is a form of incorporation, but it's a form of incorporation whereby every individual member is a shareholder. And every individual member has an equal vote in how the co-op is run. So what you get is, you get 6, 10, 20, 40 people. We've got 40 people here where I am, and they just started a co-op system themselves. It's what they call a bag and box system, whereby these people pool their money together to buy produce, and the produce is produced by local farmers. So if you want milk and eggs and cheese and preserves and meat and chicken and egg, all of that stuff is sourced from local farmers. They order it, they pick it up. It's, of course, at a discount because you're buying in bulk. They deliver it to the meeting hall where we have our meetings, which is a dining hall at a local trailer park. All right, so they have the dining hall at the local trailer park. And so we use that as our meeting spot. And then also for the co-op, what they do is they go once a week, they pick up, boxes of produce, what people had ordered ahead of time. They bring it to the meeting hall, and then everybody goes there and picks up their boxes. So that's a form of a co-op. And we need to create co-ops because soon you won't be able to get into the grocery stores.
Right.
All right. Either they want you to wear a mask again, coming soon everywhere. We know they're already already ramping it up with the world crisis with the monkeypox. Okay, fool me once. Anyways, people are going to fall for it again. Or they want you to provide proof of vaccination before you can get into a grocery store. That's another possibility, very likely to come up. Or the grocery store actually doesn't have anything anyways because the price of diesel, they can't transport the goods because, look, a lot of our produce comes from places like California. California produces 30% of all the produce and that's sold throughout North America. So, and California is going through a drought. Lake Mead is disappearing. Lake Powell is disappearing. They can't irrigate their crops. So, look, we're going to have a big shortage of food coming out of California. And even if they still produce that food, can we afford to truck it all the way to, Chicago and New York and all that on it. The price of diesel is going through the roof. So there's a lot of reasons why you're not going to be able to get a hold of food starting probably October, November. That's when they're going to usually bring it down on us. So where are you going to get your food from? Now, if you set up your own food co-op now, then when the groceries stores don't have anything or you can't get into the grocery store, then you are still dealing directly with the farmers to buy their produce. And this benefits the farmers because look at what they're doing with the farmers. They're, forcing them to dump milk and plow under their fields because they can't distribute it. They can't afford to send trucks in there to pick up the produce and deliver it to the food chains. So you're doing the farmers a favor. They are getting cash business locally, and they don't have to worry about trucking the produce out. You're coming to their place. We get a van, a couple of people volunteer their time. They drive out to the farm. They pick up all the produce and products that you can fit into the van, and you bring it back to your people and divide it up evenly. So long after the grocery stores are empty or you can't get into them for whatever reason, you will be able to deal with the farmers directly. You're doing them a favor, you're getting a discount, and you're ensuring your source of nutrition during the famine.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, buddy. We'll keep it moving along. What else? What else? What other communities do we need to get going here?
Okay, the other community we need to do is a neighborhood watch community. Now,
Mm-hmm.
a neighborhood watch is simply, again, local people in your neighborhood. They volunteer. They go to a meeting. Usually the police will send someone there to talk to your group. They call it a neighborhood watch liaison. They have, there's usually somebody in the local police department that handles that. They'll come over and they'll talk to you. It's like an hour, hour and a half talk, and they will teach you how the community is run, when to call 911, when to call Crime Stoppers, how to make sure that your neighborhood is safe by, keeping an eye on things and maybe installing extra lights. And it's a good idea because the other thing that we see coming is an increase in crime. As you read the news, it's going through the roof. Crime is out of control right now. And this is just the beginning. What do you think's going to happen when all these people and all these junkies can't get food and they can't get their crack? They're going to go.
Right, yeah.
No, well, it's bad now. Wait a couple of months, and it's going to be complete lawlessness. Plus, the defunding of the police departments and the jails are probably already overcrowded as hell. So even if they arrest them, what are they going to do with them? Where are they going to put them? They're just going to release them back on the streets, which we see already. That's what they're doing. So who's going to protect you? The police cannot protect you. So form a neighborhood watch community. You keep an eye on your neighbors, and they keep an eye on you. Now, it's not a snitch network. What it is, I'm sitting here and I see a guy breaking in through the window of my neighbor's apartment or my neighbor's townhouse. Well, then I'm going to call 911. Very simple. Security cameras are all fine and dandy, but security cameras don't prevent anything. And the police, we know from numerous studies, police cannot prevent crime. It's up to you now. So you're going to have to work together to fight crime in your neighborhood. Now, there's a lot of other benefits of a neighborhood watch community, but that's the primary one. Now, the second thing is this. If we see a full SHTF scenario, then, of course, there's going to be no police, no military, nothing. And crime and street gangs and marauders and looters, they're going to proliferate.
Proliferate. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere.
Yeah, it happens eventually.
Yeah, so you're going to see streets full of looters and gangs, and when you study like what happened in Venezuela or in Croatia during the Bosnian War, and the preppers that reported on the situation over there said everybody had their home invaded. Everybody. They went
Wow.
around door to door, kicking in the doors, stealing what they can. Who's going to protect you from that? You by yourself don't have a chance. But if you organize into like a community militia, an
Yeah. That's it.
impromptu police force, so that you and five, six guys who get together, now you have a chance. But by yourself, and this is what all the bloggers, all the survivalists wrote about. They said people by themselves, they got looted, they got robbed, they had no chance. But if you had a large family, 10, 12 people in your house, and they were armed, they were able to chase away the looters. So your neighborhood watch group right now, okay, we'll do crime prevention, we'll do what we can improve the community, but when the SHTF hits the fan, and crime and looters are out of control, that same community that you've already formed, you know these people, you've already talked to them, you know where they live. Now these guys can come together and form a community defense force.
Hmm.
So that's a
Now,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. We'll get through the last one. I mean, I'm kind of wanting to stop you here at this point in regards to setting up these smaller militias that we've talked about in times past. Do you have some advice? Do you have some guidance in terms of obvious ways to spot a mole? I think we may have scratched the surface in times past on this one, but it's bound to happen. But I mean, is there pretty obvious ways that you can spot infiltrators into your whatever militia, your defense, whatever
Yeah,
community?
well, that's going to be tricky. It's always been tricky because the government will have pay informants everywhere. The way we're doing it right here is we only allow people to attend a meeting in the group if they are recommended by existing members so that they know them.
Uh,
Now, because
referral.
where I am, it's a small town and it's a farming area, and like I said before, there's lots of Amish and Mennonites, and all of them go to church. Um, Eric, they're all Christians, and
Okay.
so they know each other from church. They know each other from the farmers market, and
Hmm.
so then if they're recommended, then we're going to take the chance on them. And that's the way I would play it for now. Like, make sure that whoever wants to become a member of your community, that you screen them by having them first recommended by somebody else. I mean,
It's
this
like
is,
the mob, like what is it, vouching for someone?
yeah, vouching for somebody, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
best way right now. I mean, you can't just like open up a sign and put out an advertisement,
Right.
come
Hey,
join our
good
group.
work.
Everyone's welcome. No, that's of course not going to work. But still, you have to keep your eyes open. I recommend everybody watch my video, Defense Against the Psychopath. Learn how psychopaths operate and keep a wary eye on new members until they've proven themselves. Right? So, one thing you might want to do is have a probationary period whereby new members can participate in the community, but they don't have a vote and they don't come to the management meetings. So you want to have kind of what I call an inner circle and an outer circle. And the inner circle are the people that you've known and trusted and have known for years and have been vouched for. And these typically will be the people, the treasurer, the secretary, and the chairperson. They're the ones that make most of the uh, uh, decisions, and then those decisions are voted on by the rest of the members. But you don't let newcomers into that group right away. Put them on a probationary period so they can come to 2 meetings a month instead of 4 meetings a month, something like that. And then you got to keep an eye on people. Make sure you have people that are intuitive, that can spot the phonies and the
Mm.
fakes. And if anyone sounds too good to be true, that's
That's what I was
always a
gonna
red
say.
flag, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say like someone like too excited. Oh, he's too excited.
Yeah.
Everything. Good stuff. Now, in regards to CERT, and we're not talking about CERN, something completely different. CERT, CERT. What do we mean by that? And what do you want to say there?
Well, CERT is a program that is run under the auspices of Homeland Security. So you might not want to go to Homeland Security to start this group, but the thing is, the group itself is an excellent organization, and it's called Citizen Emergency Response Team. That's what CERT stands for. And what it is people within the community will get some training, first aid, search and rescue, and how to use a ham radio for communications, how to set up a communications network, and how to get open up like a medical tent and distribute food and water, things like that. So everything you would need to respond to a natural disaster. Now, these groups are more effective than the Red Cross, than FEMA, than your local fire department. Most of the heavy lifting is done by community groups. They provide more benefits and more aid during a natural disaster than any other organization. So it's a very good type of community to start yourself. Now, what I would recommend is if you go to CERT.com, which I'm pretty sure that's their main website, if you go there, they have all the learning materials you need. They have training videos, they have lots of PDFs and books on how to start a group, how to run a group, and emergency procedures, how to respond to a disaster, what you need to do. So they have all the training materials there. You can download them and then just mirror it. So they want you, of course, to apply to the CERT organization, but at this point in history, I wouldn't do that because they're under the auspices, again, of Homeland Security. So if you register your community disaster response community with Homeland Security, they're going to know who you are, and they're going to look on you with suspicion because the government always looks with suspicion onto people that try to do something in their community.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt about it. Last area here that I know you wanted to talk about, buddy, I think was in regards to a food, and then I think you have a story that you want to tell us in regards to local church buying two farms there out by you. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, Eric, we've talked about Christianity and churches a little bit, but I really feel that now is the time for churches to really organize and prepare on an additional level. They need to, use the church space to host lots of community events and get people to work together and to stockpile food and medical supplies in the basement if need be. The churches are a built-in community already. We need to train those communities to be more self-reliant and more self-sufficient in order to get through what's coming. So I heard a story here from the community I'm with about one of the local churches. I think it's the First Baptist Church or something like that. Now, their members, this goes back 2.5 years ago, their parishioners refused to wear the mask. And because they refused to wear the mask, they were denied entry to all the local grocery stores. This was in the height of the panic and the terror, and they were enforcing these face mask mandates, and the parishioners absolutely refused to have anything to do with that. So what happened was the church and the parishioners pooled their money, and they bought two local farms in the area here. And they run the farms, and then the produce from that farms goes straight to a co-op that we just talked about, a food co-op that's run out of the church. And now all the parishioners can buy whatever they need because they produce it themselves and they sell it themselves through their own co-op out of the church. And I think that is a excellent idea. I'm really proud of those people. And imagine if we can do that with all the local churches. Source your own, buy a farm or invest in a farm, and and then take that produce, form the co-op in the church, so all the parishioners can go there every Sunday. In addition to their prayer services, that before they leave, they pick up a box of produce and take it home with them. What a
Oh,
brilliant idea!
yeah, it is a brilliant idea. Stefan, what can we help you promote this month? We know you're always very busy. What is the hot selling item for the month on the website?
Okay, well, tonight I'm going to raise the price on my survival library. I've been selling it for $50, and everybody that's bought it said, I can't believe you're selling this for so cheap. It's such a valuable thing to have. So, the survival library, starting tonight, I'm going to have to raise the price on it because I'm suffering from the inflation too. I'm barely eking by. And so I got to raise the prices too. So the survival library, the price is going up. If you want it for $50, buy it before midnight tonight, and you can access that at my website, chinastrategies.com, and then click on Survival Library. It's right at the top of the web page, and download that library of over 300 books in addition
Mm.
to all of my books. And this is the information you will need to survive.
Good stuff, buddy. Appreciate the time. Look for Stefan next month, folks. We got to get ready for Celeste Salome next. Until next time, stay safe and God bless.